My mother and sister drugged my 4-year-old son with sleeping pills to fake developmental delays. They wanted guardianship so they could sell my $450,000 house and split the money. 3 months later, they were all in handcuffs. I found out because I installed hidden cameras. What they didn't know was that I'd been recording everything for weeks. If you've ever trusted family with your child only to discover they'd betray you for money, this story might hit close to home. This is about a mother who thought she was raising her son alone, but she was actually fighting against her own blood. For anyone who's felt like the world turned upside down when the people who were supposed to protect you became the threat, this one's for you. I'm Emma, single mom, 32 years old. I had my son Tyler when I was 28. His father wasn't in the picture. Left before Tyler was even born. It was just me and my boy against the world. But I wasn't completely alone. My parents, Linda and Robert, lived 20 minutes away, and my younger sister Jessica still lived with them. She was 26, worked retail part-time, and always seemed bitter about her life, about mine, about the fact that I owned my house outright. That house. A modest 3-bedroom I'd bought 7 years ago with money from my grandmother's estate. My grandmother had left me $200,000. I'd put down $170,000 on the house and used the rest to build savings. It was worth about $450,000 now. My sanctuary, Tyler's home. I worked as a medical billing specialist. Remote work, decent pay, flexible hours. It let me be present for Tyler. He was everything. Bright, curious, healthy. He hit all his milestones on time. Started talking at 12 months. Could count to 20 by age 3. Knew all his colors, shapes, the alphabet. My family visited often. Too often, I'd realize later. Mom would come over twice a week just to help. Jessica tagged along most times. They'd watch Tyler while I worked or ran errands. I thought I was blessed. It started small. Comments I'd brush off. Tyler seems tired lately. Is he sleeping enough? He didn't respond when I called his name 3 times today. I read that speech delays can mean developmental issues. Has his pediatrician checked him? Tyler was fine. His doctor confirmed it at every checkup. But the comments persisted, then escalated. My mom started suggesting I take Tyler to specialists. Just to be safe, honey. Jessica would chime in with articles she'd found about autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, cognitive delays. She'd forward them to my email with concerned messages. Then came the incident that should have been my first real warning. I came home early one Tuesday. Client call got canceled. I walked in to find Tyler asleep on the couch at 2 in the afternoon. He never napped anymore, hadn't in over a year. He just crashed, Mom said too quickly, played really hard at the park. But Tyler's shoes were clean, and we hadn't been to a park with wood chips in weeks. I could tell by the lack of bark mulch stuck to his soles. What park? I asked. The one by the school, with the slides. She was vague, fumbling. I let it go. Told myself I was being paranoid. 2 weeks later, Jessica called me, said she needed to talk. We met for coffee, and she came with a folder. Actual printed documents. I'm worried about Tyler, she said. I've been documenting things. The folder had a list. Times Tyler didn't respond to his name. Moments he seemed confused by simple instructions. Instances where he zoned out. 37 entries, over 6 weeks. Where did you get this? I asked, my coffee going cold in my hand. I've been keeping notes. I think he needs to see a developmental specialist. Like soon. This isn't normal, Emma. I felt my chest tighten. Not because I believed her. Tyler was fine. I knew he was fine. But because this felt orchestrated. Deliberate. Why would my sister be keeping a log about my son? His pediatrician says he's perfect, I told her. She's seen him 5 times this year. He's hitting every milestone. Pediatricians miss things. You need a specialist. She pushed the folder across the table. I'm trying to help you, don't be defensive. I took the folder home, read through it that night. Every entry felt exaggerated. Didn't respond to his name. Tyler was 4. Sometimes kids get absorbed in play. Seemed confused by instructions. She'd written that he didn't understand when she asked him to get the thing from the thing. What 4-year-old would? But doubt crept in. That's what they were counting on. I made an appointment with a developmental specialist. Not because I thought Tyler needed it, but because I wanted to shut them up with a professional opinion. The appointment was set for 4 weeks out. During those 4 weeks, things got stranger. Tyler started falling asleep at odd times. After breakfast, mid-afternoon. He'd wake up groggy, disoriented. His energy was gone. The kid who used to bounce off walls was suddenly exhausted all the time. I took him back to the pediatrician. She ran blood work. Everything came back normal. Could be a virus, she said. Monitor him. My mom increased her visits. 3, 4 times a week now. Always bringing food. Always staying to help. Jessica came over more too. They'd insist on watching Tyler while I worked. I'd hear them in the living room, their voices low, conspiratorial. One day, I finished a work call early and walked out to find Jessica giving Tyler something. A small cup with liquid. What's that? I asked. Just juice, she said, too fast. He said he was thirsty. But Tyler had a full sippy cup right next to him, and the cup Jessica was holding looked like one from my kitchen cabinet, the ones I kept in the back, barely used. The next day, Tyler slept for 4 hours straight in the middle of the afternoon. When he woke up, he was so groggy he could barely stand. I called the pediatrician again. She suggested we move up the specialist appointment. I agreed, but I also did something else. I installed cameras. 4 hidden cameras. Living room, kitchen, Tyler's bedroom, hallway. Motion activated. Cloud backup. I told no one. The first video that caught something was 2 days later. Tuesday morning. I had a doctor's appointment, routine checkup, and my mom offered to watch Tyler. I left at 9. She arrived at 8:50. At 10:15, the living room camera caught it. My mom pulled a small pill bottle from her purse. She crushed a pill with the back of a spoon on my coffee table, mixed it into a cup of apple juice, called Tyler over. Drink this, sweetie. Grandma made it special for you. He drank it. 10 minutes later, he was asleep on the couch. My mom pulled out her phone, called someone. The camera picked up audio. He's down, she said. Come over now. We need to document this. 20 minutes later, Jessica arrived. She had her phone out, recording. Tyler, sweetie, can you wake up? Tyler? She was loud, deliberately loud, shaking his shoulder. He barely stirred. Of course he didn't. They'd drugged him. He's completely unresponsive, Jessica said to the camera. This is the 3rd time this week. Emma doesn't see it, but this is serious developmental delay. He needs intervention. They staged more. Had him fail to follow simple instructions while he was half-conscious. Recorded him stumbling when they made him stand. They were building a case. A fake medical case to prove my son was impaired. I watched that video in my car after my appointment, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. I wanted to scream. Wanted to run inside and throw them out. But something stopped me. If I confronted them now, they'd deny it. Destroy the evidence. Disappear. I needed more. Over the next 3 weeks, I collected 13 videos, each one more damning than the last. They drugged Tyler 17 times. Every time one of them babysat. The pills were over-the-counter sleep aids, diphenhydramine, but they were crushing adult doses and giving them to a 4-year-old. But the worst video came on week 3. My dad showed up. He'd been absent from most of this, and I'd assumed he wasn't involved. I was wrong. The kitchen camera caught all 3 of them: Mom, Dad, Jessica. Tyler was passed out in the living room. Another nap they'd induced. "The specialist appointment is in 4 days," Jessica said. "If she gets a clean report, this whole thing falls apart." My mom nodded. "We need to push harder. Document more. I've been talking to a family lawyer. If we can get a formal diagnosis of developmental delay or cognitive impairment, we can petition for emergency guardianship." "On what grounds?" my dad asked. "Neglect. Emma's not getting him the help he needs. She's in denial. If we show the court she's refusing treatment for a disabled child, we can argue she's unfit. They'll give us guardianship." Jessica leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "And once we have guardianship, we sell the house. Emma can't stop us if we're his legal guardians. We split the equity 3 ways. That's $150,000 each after the mortgage and fees." My dad rubbed his face. "You're sure we can do this?" "The lawyer said yes," Mom replied. "As long as we have documentation of the delays and proof that Emma's refusing to address it, the court will side with us. They always side with the child's best interest." "And Emma?" my dad asked. "What about her?" Jessica shrugged. "She'll get a rental somewhere, or she can move back with us. Either way, she doesn't need that big house. Not for just her and Tyler. It's wasted on her." "She inherited that money from my mother," my dad said quietly. "Linda, are you sure about this?" "Your mother left Emma everything and gave Jessica nothing. That wasn't fair. This is balancing the scales. And Tyler will be fine. We'll take care of him. Emma she doesn't appreciate what she has." They kept talking. About forging medical records if they had to. About finding a doctor who'd write a diagnosis for cash. About the timeline. Get guardianship, sell the house, split the money, and deal with me after. I sat in my parked car outside a grocery store and watched that video 4 times. I couldn't cry, couldn't breathe. This was my mother, my father, my sister, my family. They were trying to steal my child and my home, and they didn't care what it did to either of us. And here's what I kept asking myself as I watched that video for the 4th time. At what point does someone stop being your family? Is it the first lie? The first time they drug your child? Or is it when they sit at your kitchen table and plan how to steal everything you have? I needed you to hear that question, because what I did next depends on how you answer it. I called my lawyer that night. Then I called CPS. Then I called the police. I didn't confront them. I let them think they were winning. The specialist appointment came. I went alone, told my family I wanted to handle it myself this time. They protested, but I stood firm. The specialist evaluated Tyler. Full cognitive assessment, speech evaluation, behavioral observation, 2 hours of testing. The report was clear. Developmentally typical in all areas. No delays, no concerns. Healthy, bright, age-appropriate 4-year-old. I thanked her, took the report, and went home. That evening, I invited my family over for dinner. "I want to talk about Tyler's appointment," I told them on the phone. They came immediately, all 3 of them. We sat at my dining table. Tyler was with a trusted friend, someone they'd never met, someone who had copies of all the videos, with instructions to call the police if she didn't hear from me by 8. "So," my mom started, her voice dripping with fake concern. "What did the specialist say?" I slid the report across the table. "Tyler's perfect, no delays, no issues, completely healthy." I watched their faces. My mom's mouth tightened. Jessica's eyes darted to Dad. My father just stared at the paper. "That can't be right," Jessica said. "We've documented 17 instances of you drugging my son with sleeping pills," I interrupted. "I have video evidence of every single one." The room went silent. The color drained from my mother's face. "You installed cameras," Jessica whispered. "I did." I pulled out my laptop, turned it to face them, and played the video. The one from the kitchen. The one where they discussed guardianship, selling my house, splitting the money. I let it play for 2 minutes. Watched them squirm. I watched my mother's face as she heard her own voice on that recording. Watched her realize every word, every plan, every calculated move had been captured. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph. Just clarity. These people had looked at my sleeping son, a child they claimed to love, and seen dollar signs. That's not family. That's predators. Watched my father drop his head into his hands. Watched Jessica's defiance crack into panic. Watched my mother realize she'd been caught. "Emma, we can explain," my mom started. "You drugged my child. You planned to declare him disabled to steal custody and sell my house. You conspired to commit fraud, child abuse, and theft. I don't need your explanations. The police do." "You wouldn't," Jessica said. "We're family. You chose money over my son. You chose greed over his safety. You were willing to destroy his medical record, drug him into a stupor, and rip him away from me for $150,000 each. You stopped being family the first time you crushed a pill into his juice." My dad looked up. "Emma, please. We made a mistake." "This wasn't a mistake. This was premeditated. You had a lawyer. You had a plan. The only mistake you made was thinking I wouldn't find out." I stood up. "There are 2 police detectives outside. They've been listening to this entire conversation through a wire I'm wearing. CPS has copies of all the videos. My lawyer has filed for emergency restraining orders against all 3 of you. You're not allowed within 500 feet of Tyler or me. And if you're very lucky, you'll only face civil charges." The front door opened. 2 plainclothes detectives walked in. "Linda Morrison, Robert Morrison, Jessica Morrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit child abuse, administering a harmful substance to a minor, and attempted fraud." My mother tried to protest. Jessica started crying. My dad just sat there, defeated. They were handcuffed, read their rights, walked out of my house in custody. I stood in my kitchen, alone, shaking. But I wasn't crying. I was done crying. The legal fallout was swift and brutal. For them, not for me. All 3 were charged. My mother and Jessica faced felony child abuse charges, administering harmful substances to a minor. My father was charged as an accessory for his knowledge and participation in the conspiracy. They also faced attempted fraud charges for the guardianship scheme. CPS investigated me. Home visits, interviews, inspections. They cleared me within 2 weeks. Tyler showed no long-term effects from the drugs. Thank God they hadn't done permanent damage. He was evaluated by 2 pediatric specialists. Both confirmed he was healthy and thriving. The restraining orders were made permanent. 500 feet. For life. The criminal trials took 8 months. My mother and Jessica both took plea deals, 3 years probation, mandatory counseling, and were required to pay for Tyler's ongoing therapy to address any psychological harm. My father got 1 year probation. But the civil suit? That's where I really made them pay. I sued all 3 for emotional distress, medical expenses for Tyler's evaluations and therapy, legal fees, and punitive damages. My lawyer presented all 13 videos. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Judgment: $470,000. Split liability. They didn't have it. My parents had to sell their house to pay their portion. Jessica declared bankruptcy. My father's credit was destroyed. Their reputations in our small community? Gone. The local news covered the trial. Everyone knew. Jessica lost her job when her employer found out. My mother couldn't show her face at church anymore. My father's friends stopped calling. I didn't feel guilty. Not for a second. Tyler's 5 now. He's thriving. Happy. Healthy. He has no memory of being drugged. He was too young to understand what was happening. His therapist says we caught it early enough that there's no lasting trauma. I moved us 2 states away. Fresh start. New job. Better pay. Same remote flexibility. We have a new house. Smaller, but it's ours. No one here knows our story unless I choose to tell it. I'm in therapy too, processing the betrayal, the grief, because even though they deserved everything that happened to them, they're still my parents, still my sister. Losing them, even when they were the villains, still hurt. But I'm better now, stronger. I know what I'm capable of. I protected my son when the people who should have protected both of us turned into predators. I didn't freeze, didn't doubt myself, didn't let them gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. I trusted my instincts, gathered proof, brought in the law, and I won. Tyler asks about his grandparents sometimes. I tell him the truth. Age-appropriate version. They made very bad choices that hurt us, so we had to keep ourselves safe. We have new family now. People who love us the right way. He accepts it. Kids are resilient like that. I've built a new support system. Friends who've proven themselves. A community that's genuine. I'm dating someone. Slowly, carefully, but it's good. Tyler likes him. He's patient, kind, trustworthy. Everything my family wasn't. Financially, I'm stable. The judgment money covered my legal fees and Tyler's college fund. I still own my original house. Rented it out. The income pays for Tyler's college savings account. The house we live in now is mortgage-free, bought with what was left after paying off debts and investing. I didn't just survive. I elevated. I'm a better mother now. More vigilant, but not paranoid. Protective, but not controlling. I taught Tyler young that family isn't about blood. It's about safety, love, and trust. And if someone violates that, blood doesn't make them family anymore. People ask me if I regret turning them in, if I wish I'd handled it differently, given them a chance to explain or apologize. No, never. The moment they crushed that first pill and mixed it into my son's juice, they made their choice. Everything after that was just them executing a plan to betray us for money. There's no apology that fixes that. No explanation that justifies it. People in my life, the new friends, the therapist, even my lawyer, asked if I went too far. If destroying their finances and reputations was proportional to what they tried to do. And I always ask them back, what's the right punishment for someone who drugs your child repeatedly to steal your home? Because I genuinely want to know. Where's the line between justice and revenge? And does that line even matter when you're protecting your kid? I think about my grandmother sometimes, the one who left me the inheritance. She told me once, Emma, money reveals who people really are. It doesn't change them. It just shows you what was always there. She was right. That money didn't make my family greedy. It just exposed the greed that was already in them. They saw an opportunity and took it. They just didn't count on me being strong enough to fight back. If you're in a situation where family is betraying you, trust yourself. Document everything. Get legal help. Protect your kids first, your feelings second. And when it's over, don't feel guilty for protecting yourself. You don't owe loyalty to people who weaponized yours. Tyler's safe. I'm strong. We're building a life they can never touch. And every morning when I wake up in our home that no one can take, I know I made the right choice. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to be a victim. My family tried to make me one. Instead, I made them face consequences, and I'd do it all over again.